Onto the health sector this evening. Ghana is spending close to 200 million cedis in this year's fight against malaria. Programs manager of the National Malaria Control Program, Dr. Kezia Mam, says this is part of interventions towards elimination of the disease. She explains Ghana has so far been able to achieve a 90.3% reduction in malaria deaths.
Globally, 3.3 billion people in 106 countries are at risk of malaria. Statistics available at the Ghana Health Service indicates that death associated with malaria dropped from 6,198 cases in 2000 to 599 cases in 2017. Out of this, 327 occurred among children under 5 years in 2017 compared to 590 in 2016.
In 2000, we had, if you take about 100 people who had malaria or 1,000 people who had malaria, about 140 of them were dying from malaria. In 2017, if you take 100 people, you get only 2 people dying from malaria. So that is an impact. We know what we still haven't been able to achieve is the reduction in the malaria cases. And it's one of the factors is because not all people are testing, but we are getting there. So that is where we need to work up to ensure that the transmissions go down.
In 2017, the country recorded approximately 10.2 million suspected cases in the outpatient department. This represents a 2.3% decrease over OPD malaria cases reported in 2016. Apparently, 27,978 suspected cases were recorded daily. Though Ghana is making some gains in the fight against malaria in the last decade, sustaining them will take extra effort until the goal is attained and malaria is eliminated from Ghana. In doing this, Programs Manager of the Malaria Control Program, Dr. Kezia Mam, says the distribution of insecticide-treated bird net is being increased.
This year we are doing a mass campaign where we'll be distributing 15 million nets throughout the country. Next year is not a mass campaign, it's every 3 years. So next year is antenatal clinics and child welfare clinics. So the number of nets in a year differ depending on the strategy for that year, and therefore the cost will differ. 15 million nets this year, it costs us roughly $3 a net. We won't do Upper West because they have another intervention going on, which is the indoor residual spraying. And usually if you have indoor residual spraying, which also affects the mosquitoes, because of limited funding, we don't give IT.
Currently, 72% of all households in the country are protected from malaria with insecticide-treated bird net, an increase from 3.2%.
So the overall objective here is to totally bring an end to the malaria disease. And like you saw in the story there, many have died through malaria, and the plan is to bring an end to the malaria disease. Now, this is what's kickstarting the malaria vaccine pilot implementation program. And the vaccine that's being used here is Mosquirix, which is a vaccine that acts against Plasmodium falciparum, the most deadly malaria parasite globally. And this parasite is most prevalent in Africa. Now, Mosquirix is the first malaria vaccine to obtain a positive scientific opinion by the European Medicines Agency, a stringent medicines regulatory authority. Now, the implementation program has taken start in 3 countries in sub-Saharan Africa specifically, Ghana, one of them, Malawi and Kenya. Ghana, Malawi and Kenya. Now, the vaccine is considered complementary malaria control tool in Ghana. And so interventions such as bed nets have been put in, and it's working for some, but the disease continues to kill many, and that's where the vaccine comes into context, Alfred, the Mosquirix vaccine specifically.